Okay. We got 28%, but I do think that I can make this work. Good morning, internet friends. Buenos dias. Espero que estés bien, wherever in the world that you are. We have to say the intro in Spanish now because we are in a Spanish-speaking country. Again! So I have woken you up in the wee hours of the morning because I had a dream. Not I have a dream in the sense that I have hopes and dreams and aspirations. I mean, I had a dream last night and a part of me thinks it could be the plot of the next best-selling YA dystopian novel. And obviously I jest, because if I were truly that delusional, this video would not see the light of day. I would just be quietly working on my delusional dream fantasy novel until I eventually came to my senses and realized it was a stupid idea. But I woke up from this dream in a haze and I typed it all into my notes app to go back to later. And I guess it's later. I knew even when I was hazily typing out this very important dream that a few hours later I was going to come back to it and realize that that was silly. But I also thought it was a good idea for a video. I thought that this would be a really fun writing exercise for both of us. For me, because I have been on and off of a writing slump for the past couple of months, and also, working on kind of like the same idea for those months. And I thought it'd be really fun to just completely pivot to something different. I also thought that this would be fun for you because, this dream isn't copyrighted. This dream is public domain. I'm about to share it with you today, and I encourage you, if this dream speaks to you, if this dream awakens a sleeping muse inside of you, I encourage you to take it and run with it. I'm not going to be upset if I walk past a bookshelf one day and I see a book based on my dream on it, because hopefully I would have published a book by then too. So I wouldn't be upset. So I thought that this would be a fun exercise for us both. I also thought to raise the stakes, I would like to actually present something to you at the end of this vlog. And I mean that I would like to have something written that I can read out loud to you, which is going to be extremely vulnerable. The only reason why I would ever do that is because it seemed like a good premise for a YouTube video. It just seemed to have stakes. So that's the plan. I'm going to read aloud to you my notes app collection of this dream, and then we're gonna spend a day writing at least a part of it, at least a scene from it. And please be gentle with me because I am aware that this is delusional. I'm not coming into this with no delusion. I'm very self-aware that reading aloud to you a notes app dream I had is a very silly thing to do, and it's not gonna be the plot of the next Divergent trilogy, but it's content. Okay, so here is the dream. The notes app is called Idea. There is a witch on the run, captured and brought to a witch school, but it's in a random basement. Some woman is there to teach them, and in the corner is a young girl crying. Her name is Jennifer. Some girls look equally confused, but others, their repeat students, know that this is a part of it, that Jenny cries, and we all just deal with it. Why she is crying is not explained in the dream. So there's a paraphrased line, presumably from the head witch teacher. You don't want to be here, you will never find this place again, but other things will find you out there. It's paraphrased. I think if I was going to rewrite that, it would be something like, you don't have to be here if you don't want to be, but you'll never find this place again, and other things will find you. That's kind of how I would probably rephrase that line. Then we are brought to a gym and told we will be enrolling in an actual school, ? I think if that's actually possible, but sure. In the gym, they run through knife drills. I'm paired up with a girl and we go at it. She almost gets me, but I disarm her and stab her last minute. We are both impressed. And then some girls are assigned as cheerleaders for some reason. I feel like in the context of this dream, it was the cheerleaders were kind of trying to infiltrate. I don't know, we're kind of investigating what I'm assuming is a supernatural thing. I got the vibe that the bad guy or the things that will find me out there are supernatural in nature. So I think for whatever reason there are supernatural monsters at a school, and we think that they might be targeting cheerleaders? I don't know. So that's the dream. And with that in mind, I guess I don't have anything else to add. Like, that's all that I remember from the dream. And it is, like most dreams are, nonsensical. So have fun and let's get to writing. Okay.
No proof, but I was petting a dog and then I started talking to the owner and I said, oh, lo siento, hablo un poquito español. Here's the thing, and I'm going to tell you a trip about navigating a country where you don't speak the language. A lot of people are going to ask you the same questions over and over and over again. So all you have to do is learn how to recognize those questions. They're going to ask you, ¿de dónde eres? They're going to ask where you're from. They're going to ask, what are you doing here? For me, they always ask, are you working? Are you a student? They always say the word estudiante, so I'm like, oh, there you go. So he asked me, like, are you working? Are you a student? I said, oh, like, I'm working. And I said, I'm 30. And he said, 30 años? And that's another thing you're going to learn. It's how to recognize when people say, you look young for your age. And maybe that's a more specific experience. But yeah, I had a good Spanish interaction. I'm so proud. My hair's doing weird things, but I was so proud.
So we are approaching the end of day one. Hold on, my back is itchy. I really thought that I was gonna finish this whole scene in one day, but you know, this is actually pretty within character for me to write slow as hell. So we're gonna type a little bit more and we're gonna be less precious with our words, and hopefully we'll finish the scene tonight or tomorrow, so that way this vlog doesn't get too long. I'm having like a lot of fun writing, I will say. It's really forcing me to be less precious with my words. It's forcing me to just like push through like the temptation to meander mentally. So I do like this as an exercise. I am getting nervous about like the thought of reading stuff aloud to you, but I think I'm just going to do it and then just give you guys the disclaimer that I am aware that whatever I read aloud to you is not very good. Okay. Let's move on. Let's write for a little bit longer. Okay, let's do this. I want you to know that this is the most vulnerable I've ever been. This is the most vulnerable I've ever felt. My glasses are glary. I'm about to share with you my writing for the very first time, and not only that, share you a rough draft of my writing. My Airbnb host is outside and can see me talking to this camera at any moment. All right, let's get this over with. Last night we finished our draft. We just wrote a scene based off of the dream, and I'm going to read that scene out loud to you now. Awesome. I understand that no one's making me do this, but I do think that it's healthy for me to like get used to soliciting feedback. When I wake up, the first thing I hear is crying, gentle sods echoing off of hollow stone walls. I smell something damp and metallic. I hear, under the sods, the drip, drip, drip of fat water droplets hitting stone. There's a pressure over my eyes. I assume I'm blindfolded, although I can't feel the cloth on my skin. Even though I can't see the room, I get the sense that whoever is crying probably has their head in the right place. I sense that I'm sitting in some kind of metal chair, my head drooping forward loosely, explaining how I have a neck ache worse than my headache. My hands are bound behind me, clasped together as if in prayer. I can't tell what's binding me. Tape, possibly? It doesn't feel like anything in particular, except for pressure. It doesn't feel like I'm bound to the chair necessarily either. I don't feel anything tied on my waist or my ankles, but when I attempt to stand, I simply can't. It's as if my butt is melted to the seat. Hey, I whisper. The crying voice is somewhere to my left. I lean towards it. What's going on? Are you okay? The gentle sniffs continue, ignoring me. Another voice, this time from my right, chimes in. Don't worry about Yennefer, she always cries. I whip my head in that direction. Thanks, Sunshine. So, our voices cause a chain reaction, drowning out my response. Who's there? A terrified whisper in front of me. Who said that? Another voice, louder but still fearful. Where are we? An impatient, angry one. All good questions, I want to tell them. The annoyed girl on my right says, oh, relax, newbies. It'll be over soon. Her unbothered attitude ignites a fresh wave of indignation from the rest of us. I catch way more expletives this time around, even as our overlapping voices echo and crash into each other. The crying I heard before crescendos into a wail. Oh my god, the bored, angry girl grumbles. Shut the fuck up. There's a clap sharper and louder than all of our voices combined. It pierces our ears, makes my heart jump. It certainly shuts us all up. The girl sighs in relief. That's better. I'm about to snap back when someone else speaks. Now, Corinne, you know the rules. This person is older, her voice deep and hypnotic, but with a hint of foreboding. Her voice reminds me of a church bell ringing when someone dies. No magic in the lecture. In that moment, the unknown pressure lifts from my eyelids, and they're open, taking in the bizarre scene in front of me. Imagine a classroom only in the middle of an abandoned bunker. In front of me, 3 rows of desks, each with a girl bound the same way I am, except not. The girl in front of me has her hands clasped behind her back, just as mine are, but there are no restraints. She has no reason to keep her hands there, but she does. Or maybe she is trapped, same as me. In that case, with what if it's not rope or tape? Gorilla Glue? It doesn't feel like I have glue between my fingers, but what do I know? I'm not even sure if Gorilla Glue is a real thing. At the front of the room is an older woman who could be anywhere in her 30s or 40s, although I wouldn't know. I don't have many adults in my life. She has deep frown lines in her face, but she stands tall, muscular, and lean. Her smile is sharp and icy. She stares down the girl to my right, Corinne, I assume, whose tough girl aesthetic is evidently skin deep. Corinne, a girl with intense eyeliner and black ripped jeans, lowers her eyes to her desk, not looking at the older woman. Sorry, Kata, she murmurs. Sorry means nothing to me. That'll be a detention, the woman, Kata says. Hi, extremely vulnerable editing Jay here. So, as I'm watching this footage back, I'm reading to you for a long time. So I think we should just, cut it here. You get the point. I didn't want to do this, but just to show you that I did the prompt, I'm gonna post a link to the entire scene that I wrote, and you will all have access to comment on it. I'm trusting that since this is a small community, we're all chill people, and we're all giving feedback in good faith. I feel so vulnerable. I really didn't want to do that. I was kind of hoping that I could read this whole thing to you, and that way, you wouldn't process how mid this draft is. But it's fine. I need to get used to getting feedback from other people. This is microscopic YouTube, so I feel like we're all cool. We're all gonna be nice about it. Maybe I'm too optimistic, but I've never received a hate comment on my YouTube channel. That's how small I am, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna post this as a Google Doc, and any notes or feedback you have is super welcome. I don't know if I will pursue this story, but if I do someday, it would be really cool to see what your initial reactions are, and that way I can incorporate feedback as I go. So that's the editing J insert. Let's get back to the original video. Okay, so I'm gonna get ahead of the criticism. I know that's mid, okay? I know that it's just okay. Is the glare on my glasses bothering you? And would you like me to take my glasses off? I'm gonna be so much more vulnerable without my glasses. I literally can't see my face in this viewfinder without my glasses. Okay, look. Obviously, a lot of problems with it are, one, that I actually don't know what the story's about, so I can't put in actual details about things that are happening outside of this scene. And two, I don't know if there is a two. I think that's the biggest problem, that I don't know the story's context outside of this scene, so I can't make it better in this moment. So things that I kind of imagined for the scene that weren't clear even in this draft are, one, like I wanted to set up that like in this classroom there's some girls that are kind of repeat students that have been captured before, but I've chosen to continuously return to this like creepy weird classroom in order to like learn, I don't know, like how to defend themselves from these creepy dark magical demons that I don't know what they do. And some students are new and they're like captured in a weird way and then brought here, and so they're being kind of like introduced to this world and they make the decision if they're gonna stay or go. I didn't make it clear that there were some girls who are like, yeah, we know the drill, and they're just kind of waiting for the new girls to like have their freak out and then decide if they want to stay or go. I am so sorry to interrupt again. But obviously I've been editing this video, so I've been watching it multiple times, and I have some additional critiques about this draft. One, the names I picked are wild. I was envisioning that this takes place in the contemporary world with like a secret supernatural underbelly. So the way my main character speaks is how I imagine a person in today's world would speak. By the way, I don't think I made this clear because also I don't really know myself. I imagine her to be a teenager or like a young adult. So that was who I was picturing as the protagonist, a modern young person. And you know, naming the surrounding characters Jennifer, Kata, and Corinne seemed like a really bold choice. Again, it goes back to I don't know what's going on in this book. I will say Jennifer was canonical to the dream. There was just something about that detail that I thought was really funny. And I don't know, I didn't think too hard about the other names. I just like needed to put something in there, you know what I mean? Yeah, if I was gonna revise this, I definitely would be changing the names. Maybe we call her Jennifer. Also, this is something I realized, like it's unclear if the main character knows that there is magic in this world before she is in this underground bunker. And that's because I don't know myself. In the first part of the scene, like she's talking about this like unknown pressure. She's confused as to why it doesn't feel like anything, but she still can't move. And she's not like naming magic as like a possibility. She's throwing out like normal things like tape or rope. But then when Kata comes in and she starts to realize, oh, like I can't move my lips by myself, she notes that something weird is happening, and she even says it must be magic because there's nothing else it could be. So she goes from like not considering magic at all as a possibility to accepting it really fast. That's something that would be fixed if I fleshed out the story, because then I would know in advance like what this girl's relationship with magic is. Is she aware that magic exists, or does she just experience like weird supernatural dangerous things around her but she doesn't have an explanation for it, and then when someone proposes magic she's like, that's crazy. That was another note that I caught in retrospect. Thank you. This was another excerpt from Editing J. Now back to the end of the video. I wanted the main character to not stay for the lesson. I like it in stories when like the main character almost resists being the main character. You know, I like it when they try to run away from a situation but they end up forced into it anyway. So I figured by making her more powerful than Kata is expecting, that's like the reason why she is sought out again and will end up like in this bunker classroom again, and then she'll decide to stay. I don't know what will bring her back to that classroom. I don't know why she will decide to stay. I was kind of imagining like a hot female love interest convincing her to stay, but yeah, that's the idea. Maybe her love interest is like one of the undercover cheerleaders. I didn't get to work in the cheerleaders into the scene. You know, I really like the bunker imagery. But yeah, how was that? For me, that was not as horrible as I thought it would be. But also, I haven't read the comment section on this video yet. So currently I feel fine. What about you? Did you do the writing prompts? I told you that this was an us thing. I told you that we were both embarking on this journey together. Let me know what you thought of this video and if you enjoyed this writing exercise. As always, I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you in the next vlog.